Clara Gordon Bow, July 29, 1905, September 27, 1965, was an American actress who rose to stardom in silent film during the 1920s and successfully made the transition to talkies after 1927. Her appearance as a plucky shopgirl in the film It brought her global fame and the nickname the It Girl. Bow came to personify the Roaring Twenties and is described as its leading sex symbol. She appeared in 46 silent films and 11 talkies, including hits such as Mantrap, 1926, It, 1927, and Wings, 1927. She was named first box office draw in 1928 and 1929 and second box office draw in 1927 and 1930. Her presence in a motion picture was said to have ensured investors, by odds of almost 2-1, a safe return. At the apex of her stardom, she received more than 45,000 fan letters in a single month, January 1929. After marrying actor Rex Bell in 1931, Bow retired from acting and became a rancher in Nevada. Her final film, ʻboʊ, was released in 1933. In September 1965, Bow died of a heart attack at the age of 60. Early life. Bow was born in Prospect Heights, Brooklyn at 697 Bergen Street, in a bleak, sparsely furnished room above a dilapidated Baptist church. Her birth year, according to the U.S. censuses of 1910 and 1920, was 1905. The 1930 census indicates 1906 and on her gravestone of 1965, the inscription says 1907. But 1905 is the accepted year by a majority of sources. Bow was her parents' third child, but her two older sisters, born in 1903 and 1904, had died in infancy. Her mother, Sarah Frances Bow, née Gordon, 1880 to 1923, was told by a doctor not to become pregnant again, for fear the next baby might die as well. Despite the warning, Sarah became pregnant with Clara in late 1904. In addition to the risky pregnancy, a heat wave besieged New York in July 1905, and temperatures peaked around 100 degrees Fahrenheit, 38 degrees Celsius. Years later, Clara said, "I don't suppose two people ever looked death in the face more clearly than my mother and I the morning I was born. We were both given up, but somehow we struggled back to life." Bow's parents were descended from English, Irish and Scottish immigrants who had come to America the generation before. Bow said that her father, Robert Walter Bow, 1874 to 1959, had a quick, keen mind. All the natural qualifications to make something of himself, but didn't everything seemed to go wrong for him, poor darling. By the time Clara was 4.5, her father was out of work, and between 1905 and 1923, the family lived at 14 different addresses, but seldom outside Prospect Heights, with Clara's father often absent. "I do not think my mother ever loved my father," she said. "He knew it. And it made him very unhappy, for he worshipped her, always." When Bow was 16, her mother Sarah fell from a second-story window and suffered a severe head injury. She was later diagnosed with psychosis due to epilepsy. From her earliest years, Bow had learned how to care for her mother during the seizures, as well as how to deal with her psychotic and hostile episodes. She said her mother could be mean to her, but didn't mean to. She couldn't help it. Still, Bow felt deprived of her childhood. "As a kid I took care of my mother, she didn't take care of me." Sarah worsened gradually, And when she realized her daughter was set for a movie career, Bow's mother told her she would be much better off dead. One night in February 1922, Bow awoke to a butcher knife held against her throat by her mother. Clara was able to fend off the attack, and locked her mother up. In the morning, Bow's mother had no recollection of the episode, and later she was committed to a sanatorium by Robert Bow. Clara spoke about the incident later. It was snowing. My mother and I were cold and hungry. We had been cold and hungry for days. We lay in each other's arms and cried and tried to keep warm. It grew worse and worse. So that night my mother, but I can't tell you about it. Only when I remember it, it seems to me I can't live. On January 5, 1923, Sarah died at the age of 43 from her epilepsy. When relatives gathered for the funeral, Bow accused them of being hypocrites, and became so angry that she even tried to jump into the grave. Bow attended PS 111, PS 9, and PS 98. As she grew up, she felt shy among other girls, who teased her for her worn-out clothes and carrot-top hair. She said about her childhood, "I never had any clothes. And lots of time didn't have anything to eat. We just lived, that's about all. Girls shunned me because I was so poorly dressed." From first grade, Bow preferred the company of boys, stating, "I can lick any boy my size." My right arm was quite famous. My right arm was developed from pitching so much. Once I hopped a ride on behind a big fire engine. I got a lot of credit from the gang for that. A close friend, a younger boy who lived in her building, burned to death in her presence after an accident. In 1919, Bow enrolled in Bay Ridge High School for girls. I wore sweaters and old skirts. Didn't want to be treated like a girl. There was one boy who had always been my pal. He kissed me. I wasn't sore. I didn't get indignant. I was horrified and hurt. Bow's interest in sports and her physical abilities led her to plan for a career as an athletics instructor. She won 5 medals at the Cinder tracks and credited her cousin Homer Baker, the national half-mile champion, 1913 and 1914, and 660-yard world record holder, for being her trainer. The Bows and Bakers shared a house, still standing at 33 Prospect Place in 1920. Career. Early years. In the early 1920s, roughly 50 million Americans, half the population at that time, attended the movies every week. As Bow grew into womanhood, her stature as a boy in her old gang became impossible. As well, she did not have any girlfriends, and school was a heartache and home miserable. On the silver screen, however, she found consolation. "For the first time in my life I knew there was beauty in the world. For the first time I saw distant lands, serene, lovely homes, romance, nobility, glamour. And further, I always had a queer feeling about actors and actresses on the screen. I knew I would have done it differently. I couldn't analyze it, but I could always feel it. I'd go home and be a one-girl circus, taking the parts of everyone I'd seen, living them before the glass." At 16, Bow says she knew she wanted to be a motion pictures actress, even if she was a square, awkward, funny-faced kid. Against her mother's wishes but with her father's support, Bow competed in Brewster Publications Magazine's annual nationwide acting contest, Fame and Fortune, in fall 1921. In previous years, other contest winners had found work in the movies. In the contest's final screen test, Bow was up against an already seen experienced woman who did a beautiful piece of acting. A set member later stated that when Bow did the scene, she actually became her character and lived it. In the January issues 1922 of Motion Picture Classics, the contest jury, Howard Chandler Christie, Nassim Khan, and Harrison Fisher, concluded, "She is very young, only 16. But she is full of confidence, determination and ambition. She is endowed with a mentality far beyond her years. She has a genuine spark of divine fire." The 5 different screen tests she had, shows this very plainly, her emotional range of expression provoking a fine enthusiasm from every contest judge who saw the tests. She screens perfectly. Her personal appearance is almost enough to carry her to success without the aid of the brains she indubitably possesses. Bow won an evening gown and a silver trophy, and the publisher committed to help her gain a role in films, but nothing happened. Bow's father told her to haunt Brewster's office, located in Brooklyn, until they came up with something. To get rid of me, or maybe they really meant to give me all the time and were just busy. Bow was introduced to director Christy Caban, who cast her in Beyond the Rainbow, produced late 1921 in New York City and released February 19, 1922. Bow did 5 scenes and impressed Caban with true theatrical tears, but was cut from the final print. "I was sick to my stomach," she recalled, and thought her mother was right about the movie business. Bow, who dropped out of school, senior year, after she was notified about winning the contest, possibly in October 1921, got an ordinary office job. However, movie ads and newspaper editorial comments from 1922 to 1923 suggest that Bow was not cut from Beyond the Rainbow. Her name is on the cast list among the other stars, usually tagged Brewster Magazine Beauty Contest winner and sometimes even with a picture. Silent films. Encouraged by her father, Bow continued to visit studio agencies asking for parts. But there was always something. I was too young, or too little, or too fat. Usually I was too fat. Eventually, director Elmer Clifton needed a tomboy for his movie Down to the Sea in Ships, saw Bow in Motion Picture Classic magazine, and sent for her. In an attempt to overcome her youthful looks, Bow put her hair up and arrived in a dress she sneaked from her mother. Clifton said she was too old, but broke into laughter as the stammering Bow made him believe she was the girl in the magazine. Clifton decided to bring Bow with him and offered her $35 a week. Bow held out for $50 and Clifton agreed, but he could not say whether she would fit the part. Bow later learned that one of Brewster's sub-editors had urged Clifton to give her a chance. Down to the Sea in Ships was shot on location in New Bedford, Massachusetts, produced by independent The Whaling Film Corporation, and documented the life, love, and work in the whale hunter community. The production relied on a few less-known actors and local talents. It premiered at Olympia, New Bedford, on September 25, and went on general distribution on March 4, 1923. Bow was billed 10th in the film, but shone through. Miss Bow will undoubtedly gain fame as a screen comedian. She scored a tremendous hit in Down to the Sea in Ships, and has reached the front rank of motion picture principal players. With her beauty, her brains, her personality and her genuine acting ability, it should not be many moons before she enjoys stardom in the fullest sense of the word. You must see Down to the Sea in Ships. In movie parlance, she stole the picture. By mid-December 1923, primarily due to her merits in Down to the Sea in Ships, Bow was chosen the most successful of the 1924 Wampas baby stars. 3 months before Down to the Sea in Ships was released, Bow danced half nude, on a table, uncredited in Enemies of Women, 1923. In spring she got a part in The Daring Years, 1923, where she befriended actress Mary Carr, who taught her how to use makeup. In the summer, she got a tomboy part in Grit, a story that dealt with juvenile crime and was written by F. Scott Fitzgerald. Bow met her first boyfriend, cameraman Arthur Jacobson, and she got to know director Frank Tuttle, with whom she worked in 5 later productions. Tuttle remembered. Her emotions were close to the surface. She could cry on demand, opening the floodgate of tears almost as soon as I asked her to weep. She was dynamite, full of nervous energy and vitality and pitifully eager to please everyone. Grit was released on January 7, 1924. The Variety review said, "Clara Bow lingers in the eye, long after the picture has gone." While shooting Grit at Pyramid Studios, in Astoria, New York, Bow was approached by Jack Bachman of independent Hollywood studio Preferred Pictures. He wanted to contract her for a 3-month trial, fair paid, and $50 a week. "It can't do any harm," he tried. "Why can't I stay in New York and make movies?" Bow asked her father, but he told her not to worry. On July 21, 1923, she befriended Luella Parsons, who interviewed her for the New York Morning Telegraph. In 1931, when Bow came under tabloid scrutiny, Parsons defended her and stuck to her first opinion on Bow. "She is as refreshingly unaffected as if she had never faced a means to pretend. She hasn't any secrets from the world, she trusts everyone. She is almost too good to be true. I only wish some reformer who believes the screen contaminates all who associate with it could meet this child. Still, on second thought it might not be safe. Clara uses a dangerous pair of eyes." The interview also revealed that Bow already was cast in Maytime and in great favor of Chinese cuisine.